going on, everybody, man? This is your boy M-T, and we're here with another Tap In with M-T and Friends, man. And I got one of my guys here, the good guy here, Ty McMath, man. I've known this man for a while. He's seeing Metric Mate in his infancy. So, Ty, appreciate you, my guy.
My guy. Man, it is so funny. I remember talking to you and your team on the balcony. I was living, I think I was living at the spot called the Bishop, right across from the King and Queen building. And I was on the phone with your team, and I really, bro, I can see exactly what you guys were doing. And it was like, y'all was a baby. Like, I'm talking like a baby. And just to watch you grow, to watch the team grow, I mean, I'm proud, man. It's amazing to see it. So truly, truly. And I feel that just watching like how you guys are, I would say, disrupting the industry, you know, and bringing something new to the industry, especially for us independent owned fitness spaces, how you guys are improving the experience, man. It's awesome, bro. It's awesome. So thank you for holding tap-ins at the Union.
Man, come on, man.
Yes, sir.
Come on,
yes, sir.
Man. You walk up in here, you see what's going on. So, I mean, we gonna get there. We're starting to get into like, cause we talk, you know what I'm saying? So we starting to get into the talk, but we have to have some structure.
We gotta act like, you know, like we don't know each other. We don't talk every day.
A little bit. But give them a rundown, man, because you've got such a like studied past. Like, you've done so much, you've seen so much. You've been in business, you've sold business, you've seen, like, give them the rundown, give them the background, let the audience know where we coming from, the real. So as we move into this other stuff, they know it's not no fluke, because I don't mess with no fluke folks. We're consistent with ours.
As me and one of my guys, G. Bryant, say, you know, we like to think of ourselves as real guys in the industry, like real entrepreneurs, right? That's tried and true, got the scars, got all the experiences. I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years. You know, my uncle actually owned a Gold's Gym. And so, he owned a Gold's Gym off of Howell Mill. And this is the old Howell Mill. Yeah, this is the old Howell Mill before it was just a Kroger over in that Howell Mill. It wasn't nothing around there. You know, so he owned a Gold's Gym over there. And my uncle, you know, for him to put a Gold's Gym and for him to even invest in a Gold's Gym was like different. You know, it was mostly white owners, right, in Gold's Gym, and he was one of the first Black franchise owners of a Gold's Gym. And so I was fortunate enough. I went to Clark Atlanta University. So
fault him for that.
Hey, you know, scholarship. Thank you, CAU. But man, I would go over to the Gold's Gym, and I worked in every part of the gym. I cleaned the treadmills. I did sales. I was a general manager. I did every single part of that gym, and so I learned a lot from him. Working for him, I realized, like, oh man, like, I get the gym industry, I get the space, but there's so many things that I feel like as an entrepreneur that I saw gaps in the market. And so, like, working for him and then going to the Ritz-Carlton, that was my like first official real job, you know, when you get the 401k paperwork and all that good stuff. Yeah. I thought I was killing it back then. Oh man, I thought it was over for me. You know, I thought everything was gonna be all right. But I worked for the Ritz-Carlton. And so I learned customer service at that point. And once I started learning about customer service and learning about like the customer journey and different things like that, I always missed the fitness industry. You know, I always missed like, man, like working for my uncle's gym, it was just felt pure and it felt free. You know, working for the Ritz-Carlton was amazing, but it was like a job, and it was structure, and it was things like that. So I quickly realized, like, this probably is not the path for me. And so while I was at the Ritz-Carlton, I started thinking about like ways I can be an entrepreneur and possibly be in the fitness industry. And so I started thinking about like, man, maybe I can do these pop-ups. So I started doing these pop-up classes for a company called Get in Shape Bootcamp. And this company in Atlanta was like, this guy named Shannon Hamilton started this company called Get in Shape Bootcamp. So I just started doing pop-up classes. And at first I was just like a normal member. Like, bro, I was just going in, like working out, just loving it. And then I started being a coach. And it wasn't even about the money. It was just like loving to be there, going. And then I was like, man, think I have an ideal, So I started talking to Shannon about this pop-up ideal that I had about having these classes in different places. One thing I noticed about Get in Shape Boot Camp, it was outside. And so the weather would come and it was cold, so people would not show up. It was the summertime, it was too hot. When kids would be on spring break, you had all this stuff, like people would, have reasons not to show up with the weather. And so I was like, man, this is really emotional, right? Like you're asking people for money every month. That felt like an emotional dollar. So I was like, man, maybe you can do something different and maybe go into like different buildings or different corporates and do more activations. So I pitched him this idea. And like any entrepreneur that pitches you an ideal, sometimes you're probably looking at this guy like, come on, bro, like I got my own company.
Right.
And so he politely said, no, I'm good. And so I was like, well, I think I'm going to try it out. And so I went out and that's when I started Torch Fitness and Nutrition, bro. Yeah.
Hold up.
I know it's crazy.
Because the beautiful part about this whole situation and why is tap in with M-T and friends and not tap in with M-T and strangers.
Yeah.
M-T, somebody I met in the gym, bro, because I appreciate the fact that I learned so much about my people.
Yes.
And the Torch Fitness Day, like when it was popping, after like this whole conversation, after you getting the trials and the tribulations and building, that's when our paths kind of intersected.
Yes.
And it's like, I know that part.
Yes.
But hearing this part, it's like,
yeah, bro.
Oh, and then hearing the connections, it's like that Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
Remember that Gold's Gym?
Yeah.
Like,
my uncle owned that Gold's Gym.
Riding around that area because K&G was my dad's spot. It is to this day. So it's like that was the Howell Mill that I was down. I was like, I know. It's like the only thing I knew on Howell Mill was K&G.
Yeah, Piccadilly's,
Kroger, Gold's Gym.
Yep.
Like I remember seeing that thing, and so now it holds a more prominent space in my memory. I'm like,
man.
I've been parlaying, I've been communing, I've been fellowshipping with this man for so long.
Yep.
I had no freaking idea.
Yep.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we was over there, man, and I met so many people. I had moved from Nebraska, and so I went to school in Nebraska, and I moved to Atlanta sight unseen.
That's right, you played ball in Nebraska.
Yeah, played ball in Nebraska, and I played ball at Clark. So they offered me a scholarship, and it was late in the summer. And I was like, all right, well, I've never been to Atlanta. I didn't know anything really about Atlanta. Honestly, truth be told, I knew nothing about HBCUs. I literally knew nothing. So I came from Nebraska, and the Clark Atlanta coach was like, hey, we got a full ride scholarship. Let's go. I said, all right, say less. I was in my car. The funny thing is, this is a podcast story. So I had this little Mitsubishi. You remember the little Mitsubishis with the Eclipse?
Okay,
and they had a little drop top.
Yep.
Right. So this little old car, and I'm driving it from Nebraska to Atlanta.
Right.
And I packed my little dorm in this car, and I couldn't put the top up because I packed all my stuff. I couldn't even put the top up. So I remember, bro, I drove for like maybe, 16 hours. And it started raining. And I just remember this trip coming from Nebraska to Atlanta, but it was sight unseen. So when I got to Clark, Atlanta, I know nothing about Atlanta. Didn't understand HBCUs. I just came in, and it was probably the best experience. And even in business, it was the best experience ever, because going from Nebraska and going to Clark, Atlanta, I think I had the best of both worlds. And I was able to mix and match and mingle with all types of people. And it really helped me in business to today. Going to school in Nebraska and going to school at Clark, Atlanta. It was like 2 years in Nebraska, 3 years at Clark, Atlanta, and combined, I felt like that was part of how we built Torch and how we're building the union right now.
Dude, and that's crazy that you tell that story, man. Because that's similar to the way that I got the S&T.
Come on now.
S&T.
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all better tell people about my podcast too. I'll come up there and Rollin and fight y'all. But it was literally the same way. Like I was in the dual degree program in the AUC. I was at Morehouse. And I finished up my math. I was like, all right, bet. S&T's the one giving up bread. I flew up there. They let me blow up the side of a mountain. I was completely amazed. I was like, Tech's not going to do that. Michigan's not going to do that. This is crazy. I've never done this before. We're going to take a shot because they're giving out the bread. And I packed my Nissan Maxima, my 96 Nissan Maxima. This was 2009. So I was a 96 Nissan Maxima, packed that thing full of stuff. Stick shift, drove that mud to the curb. Sight unseen. I'd never seen this spot before. I actually had a homeboy that was up there, spent the night, and ended up moving to my place, and the rest was history. You know what I'm saying?
That's the best thing, man. Don't you? I mean, like, and obviously this is for, I'm guessing, entrepreneurs, right? And for different people that tap in.
Always.
One of the biggest things I always say in life and in business is, you have to be willing to like risk. You have to be willing to bet on yourself. You have to be willing to try new things. We both decided, you going to, S&T, me going to Clark, Atlanta. We both decided, like, let's get out of our comfort zone a little bit. Let me see what this life is about. You can always go back. You can always go back to that comfort zone. I know what this is. Let me go over here. And it allows you, it stretches you, it molds you, it opens up your circle. It puts you around different type of people where you start to be like, man, oh, wow, you see things this way. Or, wow, you dress this way. I remember my first day on campus, bro, and I'm walking down, what do they call that? Strip? I'm walking down the strip. I got lab. It's probably like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm dressing like I dress in Nebraska.
Right.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Nope.
It's lab.
I know exactly.
Bro, they had on J's. Yeah. They had on the girl. I said, oh, it's serious in here. Dude. It was amazing. But I didn't know. Yeah. I mean, it was dudes in suits.
First thing.
8 o'clock in the morning. I was so impressed. It was just a different experience, man. And those experiences make business, and make those relationships and just deepen, your character in a way. Yeah, man.
That's it. Amen.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Praise.
Yeah.
WC for all of its exposure and excellence and all of that stuff.
Yeah, man.
So going into Torch, like that was a thing.
Yeah, we created a whole industry. Like literally, bro, we started an industry that had not been activated. And like imagine we went into apartments and we said, okay, apartment, you have this gym. You've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into your gym. It's not activated and you're not doing any real programming. So essentially we started a Orange Theory or LA Fitness in apartments, and they paid us to do this. Mm-hmm. Normally what was happening before we came in with Torch, people and trainers would go in and they would just say, hey, could we do this as a trade out, or could we, for free? Or they was actually paying the apartment. Mm. We came in and we said, look, I believe you should pay us to do these activations and do these classes and do these things because it's an amenity for your residents. And that had not been done before. It was literally, there was no market research. There was no standard procedure. There was no, it wasn't like I could say, hey, this person charged this, so I can charge this. There was nothing. So we went in and created this niche and this avenue that had never been created. But when we created it, we noticed that, wow, so an apartment would pay us, say they'd pay us $5 per door. And this apartment had 300, 400 doors. They can then charge the residents $8 per door, $10 per door. And the residents didn't really feel it.
Right.
But the apartment's like, oh, wow, we're really making money doing this, like having a real program. And so we were really first to market. And a lot of people ask us, how did you scale to 26 different states? And how did you get to, we had over 500,000 doors.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
That's crazy.
And how we did it, we were just first to market. It wasn't like we did anything genius. It wasn't anything different from another boot camp or another Zumba or another yoga. We just understood our worth and our value. and we asked for that worth and value, and then we simplified and repeated that over and over and over again, and we built relationships. That's like tried and true in any business.
Yeah.
Know value, build relationships, simplify, repeat.
Dude, y'all better be listening.
That was somewhat like a bar. Yeah. But no, but it's like, it's really what happened. It's really what happened. And so those relationships helped us grow. And we ran into what a lot of entrepreneurs don't really understand. We ran into issues that was like, they were like what they would call like champagne problems, right? We scaled too fast. Yep. We were growing too fast. We were like, what do we do? Oh man, we got 26 accounts. How do we, like on the back end, how do we do this operation wise? How do we fulfill this? We started running into that. So I had never, bro, and speaking of, this is, Shark Tank, right? Yeah. How I learned about my business was watching shows like Shark Tank and Lamona's. And so as I was scaling, I was like, I don't know how we can sustain this. Like my wife and I, and maybe like 3 other people was just working for our company. And then everybody was independent contractors. Right. So we started getting deals and deals and deals and growing. And we had, buildings in Austin, Texas, and Denver, and San Diego, and LA, all over. Connecticut, places I had never been. I've never been to these buildings, and we had these things rolling. Wow. And it was like non-emotional money. It was mailbox money. Every time I went to the mailbox, we had checks. Right. But as we grew, it's like, man, how am I gonna continue to scale at this like rate, for one? And then every time we went into Austin or Nashville or Denver, we introduced a new product to the market. So a young Ty, a young M-T was like, hey, shoot, if he can do this, then I can do this too.
So you got gunslingers coming.
So we created our own competition. Yep. And once there was no barrier to entry. Right. You can go right now to an apartment right now and say, hey, we want to do 5 classes, da-da-da-da-da.
Yep. This is what you're going to pay me per door? What's up? You signing in that?
Yeah. It's not like rocket science. So we created our competition. It was so hard to keep up that I was like, all right, we have 2 decisions to make. We're either going to go with a company, right, that can help us fulfill our orders and ride the wave, or we can partner with like maybe a LA Fitness, maybe an Orange Theory, maybe a Peloton, something like that. And so, yeah, man, that's how we really started thinking about selling and the next level of the company. And I was fortunate enough to have relationships. And I started talking to a mentor of mine, Tracy Bowers, and she introduced me to another person. And within 3 weeks, we had sold our company. Within 3 weeks, my wife and I was in an apartment. And, we never paid ourselves that much money. Right. We were in an apartment. And I remember the first couple meetings, I didn't even bring my wife because I was like, you start talking about selling a company. I told my lawyer and my accountant, and they actually didn't think we can sell our company for the multiple. They were like, how do you sell a company? You don't own any real estate. You don't own any real intellectual property. You don't own the trainers. They don't work for you. They're not W-2s. Like, what are you actually selling? And I was like, well, the contracts. We have all these buildings, but they were like, these are monthly contracts. So if you sell your company, so if I bought this from you right now, you know what I'm saying? And it's on a month-to-month basis, I can cancel in 30 days, 60 days. So my accountant and my lawyer was like, you could possibly sell it for this, so you might as well keep it.
For reference, what year is this?
This is in 2019.
So Uber here.
Yep.
All these subscription-based companies that's selling for $1 million Fitbit here.
Here.
And cats still don't get it?
Oh, no, they told me I couldn't do it. My accountant, who we've employed for years, told me we couldn't do it. To the point where I remember one time me and my wife was in the car, and after we left the accountant's office, and she's like, baby, I don't think we should do this. We're not gonna make the money, da-da-da. I was like, well, let's just call him. So it was so not traditional. Yeah. So I called the company, the guy that we were that represents the company that we were selling to. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We need to sell for this multiple. And he was like, oh yeah, we're on the same page. And I remember having the speakerphone so my wife can hear it. Like, yeah, you see, like. This is actually, but I had to convince my own team first that this was possible, then negotiate the deal. But I understand now looking back, in traditional business, I understood, but there are certain things like when you build a brand and when you build like social capital, you know, when you build like that brand loyalty. We had brand loyalty. We had like what a trainer in 305 couldn't do. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm Joe. I teach yoga. What does that mean? This is torch. We're gamifying it. We're creating this experience. That is the difference. So we had that, and I knew we had that. And so when we went into these negotiations, I knew we had that leverage. Mm-hmm. And we were a Trojan horse. This company wanted to be in fitness. They wanted to be in the Southeast. We were mostly in the Southeast. Those are things that you can leverage as a company. And so, yeah, we were able to do that, man. In 2019 or 2020, we ended up selling our company. And like I said, in 3 weeks, my wife and I, we were like, all right, so how does this money come? Like, does it just hit the account? Like, how does this work? Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know how that worked. And so, like, and I didn't want to ask the other company.
Right.
Like, does it come in a check? Like, I didn't want to, I didn't want to ask them. So I was like waiting, you know? And so we signed the deal. My lawyer sent it over. We signed it. And by midnight, money had been deposited in our account. And it was like, oh my gosh, this actually like happened.
Dude.
It was like a out of body experience. It was like one of the best feelings ever.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
And this just took me to a whole nother level with this conversation because you are now officially representation.
No doubt. And I didn't realize that.
And you had no idea in the moment. You didn't even know how the money. I just signed this paper saying that I'm finna get this bread. I don't even know how I was so in shock about what was happening.
It was
I didn't
within
even
a
go
month.
through my normal mode. Because if you go work at Taco Bell, you're gonna be like, how do I get my money? First day, you ain't even worked the hour yet. Like, is it direct deposit? What we doing? Do I need to give you a slip? Like, what's happening? You were so like.
I was so green. I didn't even realize how high we were jumping. I didn't even realize that this is not normal in business. Yeah. I was so green that I didn't realize like, oh, most companies don't do this. But that's the amazing part about sometimes people overstudy, they overanalyze, they overcomplicate a business, they over-strategize. A part of our success was that we didn't know. And I think we continue to be in rooms because we didn't act like we were the smartest person in the room. We didn't act like we had it all figured out. We didn't act like, oh no, I know. You know how those people, oh no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what you're saying.
I have absolutely no idea what this means. Ibada, what is that? What do you need to see? What is that? I had no idea. And so I didn't realize it. We sold our company. And we were on Fox. We were on Fox Business, right? And I'm telling you, bro, like, I'm not thinking about it like that. Right. I'm thinking that, this is awesome. Let's go get a house. I've never bought a house before. Let me do that. You know, wow. We were on Fox, and then I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, people are, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like in the know. I wasn't around a lot of people. So it was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, and people started recognizing it. And I'm around more people. And then I realized this is not, this is very rare. It is amazing to do. The fact that you can build, scale, sell a company, like, it's just not a normal process. But we were so in the work that we never really looked up. We never looked up and, did it. And I probably didn't look up until I started this new project. I didn't even realize the magnitude of what we did until I started in the new project. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. I get it. So yeah, it took a while.
Dude. Man, I rock with you. But I'm sitting here like, yo.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. It was a process. It was a process to get here, for sure.
So after all of that, you know what I'm saying? I know it was a ride. It was a definite ride.
Yeah, it was a great ride.
You decided to jump your butt back in the pool.
Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. And the funny thing is, you sell a company, and I remember feeling like, all right, well, I want to learn. So I sold it to a private equity company, and like what this private equity company does, as most of them do, they go and then they sell again. They sell all the companies. So I went in, we built and helped our company and other companies sell for a crazy, if I was to tell you the amount, you'll go crazy. That's how, I didn't understand, right?
Yeah.
So our company and other companies go in and we go and we sell this other company. And it was like, bro, it was like 1.4 billion. Yeah, right? So I'm not even understanding.
What's happening? The ride they taking me on now.
The ride that I'm on, bro. I'm in it, but I'm not in it. I'm like, oh, wow, so I'm just on planes. I'm going everywhere. I'm doing everything. Yeah. And it's just work for me. I'm not thinking about it. So I'm going and I'm doing all this stuff, and all these companies, they sell again. Then we go in again, and as I'm running, I'm realizing, oh, wow, I'm losing myself. I forgot why I'm here. I forgot why I'm doing this. It became a job. I was at the Ritz-Carlton again. It became a job. I wasn't even it was very soulless.
Yeah.
It didn't feel, I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. I moved into the neighborhood, and I remember because I would walk. I was one of the old people in the neighborhood that they would see me every day. I would be walking. I would be talking to everybody to make up for my day. I would take my little conference calls. And I remember moving to a neighborhood, the neighborhood that you should move in, right? I remember Diddy's house was over here. And it was ooh, and Stephen Harvey's house was over here, and T.A.P. And I'm moving in this neighborhood. And I remember being probably the most depressed I've ever felt in my life, by far. I would wake up, and I got to the point where I would just do stuff. I would go on vacation just to get away. But then when I would come back from vacation, I would still be depressed. Yeah. And I would do everything. I would try to buy my way out of this. I would do this. And around probably July of 2022 or 2021, I was like, I don't think I can do this. And I started talking to my people, my mom, my wife, other people. And I know it sounds crazy to people because wait, you worked your whole life to have this security and to have this money. And where I'm from, I grew up just like how everybody probably grew up, right? In the hood, and mom worked at Arby's and dad worked at General Motors, and we never had anything, So the fact that I was able to do the things I was able to do for my family was amazing. But I was like, I can't do this. And so I remember just talking to my mom, being like, Mom, I think I gotta leave. And it was bro, the company, they had me on this D&I council, and I could not stand it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pretend. Oh, yeah, bro, I could not do it. I could not. It was the hardest thing in the world. So I remember as I was building Torch, I started noticing that there was so much talent in our industry. There were so many fitness entrepreneurs, trainers, tech, marketers. And there was so much talent, but there was no place for them. And like, I was like, man, where do those people go? In other industries, when they have this, they have salon suites, they have ghost kitchens, they have the gathering spots. WeWorks, Industrious, they have places. In real estate, they have places. But in the fitness industry, what do they have? Rice is a perfect example of that. And so I remembered that. And as I was thinking about, man, what am I going to do? I remembered all of these fitness entrepreneurs. And I had so many fitness entrepreneurs that would come to me like, man, how do you scale a company? How do you build a company? How do you sell a company? And I really didn't have a place for them to really talk to them or to build that. And so like around that July time, I started thinking like, man, I want to leave, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I started doing the same thing I did before. I started talking to people and started gathering information. And then by September of 21, I had got this lease. And the funny thing is I had to wait to get all the spaces because this is 4 spaces in total. So I had to get one space, then another space, then another space. Then I went to the company that had bought our company and I told them I was firing myself from my own company. So I ran Torch and I was like, I'm not the best CEO for my company anymore. And they were like, well, you can stay and just, you can build this and stay. And I couldn't even do it. Yeah. I thought about it. I was like, man, I can't do it. And so I left, no salary, no nothing, just like, all right, cold turkey. Yep. And so January 13th actually is when I left. And so yesterday was kind of an anniversary of such. And so, I left and I started building the union from there. Yeah.
Man. You something else, boy. You something else. I literally had conversations about this entire week about pouring into people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And making sure that they understand like when they are raising the bar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you ain't even done yet.
Nah, we just getting started. We just getting started.
Yo.
We just getting started. Isn't it crazy though? Like me and you both, right? We read all these books, listen to all this music. I'm a huge Nipsey Hussle fan. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. And they always talk about betting on yourself. Bet on yourself. Go through all the emotions of entrepreneurship, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And when it was time for me to be challenged in everything that I've read, I had to think like, all right, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to bet on myself? Am I really going to step out? Even in my brain, it was like, build a gym. Why would I ever want to build a gym? That makes no sense. All these things. And like, the one thing that I'm most proud of is that even no matter what happens with the union, no matter what happens in my life, I proved to myself that I'm willing to bet on myself. And I can take that.
And you can win.
And like victory is in whatever you want victory to be in, right? It might be in the success of a company, selling, scaling. But it might be just in you saying to yourself, yo, you know what? I'm willing to do it. And I can live with that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I can stomach that. What I cannot stomach is not doing that for myself, not betting on myself. I don't know if I can stomach it. It's just something in me that needs to prove to myself that I believe in myself.
True. Yeah. It'll change the whole brain chemistry, the whole wave of your body.
For sure.
For sure, man. You move with a different confidence.
Yeah, man. You got to be a guy, man. You can't pretend to be a guy.
And that kind of explains like the change that I saw when we came back together. Because you know what I'm saying? It was that time in between, like torches popping. I'm coming to events. I'm seeing the DJs, everybody in there sweating before Effect Fitness and all that stuff.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Get it in.
Yes.
And then that time in between, obviously, when you sold the company and then you went through working for the private equity firm. Yep. That was kind of our blackout period. You know what I'm saying? Because I was focused on Metric Mate. I had all my stuff going on. You had all your stuff going on. But then we came back.
Yes.
And it was a different tie.
Yes.
Like when I first walked into the union, when all this stuff wasn't even here, he was like, yo, come by. I want you to see the spot. Yep. It was a different tie.
Yes.
Same tie, but a different tie, bro.
No, you're right.
And that context gives so much to that. That growth is seen through that piece, man.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we went through the fire. I remember watching y'all grow. And this is so funny because as an entrepreneur, it's like being a coach.
Yeah.
Like I built and scaled a company and I was a coach, but I watched y'all in the game. And me, I'm like, I want to be in the game. Like,
hey, I'm watching you.
I want to be in the game. I'm like, man, I saw what y'all was building and that motivated me. That motivated me, man. That motivated me to watch y'all build, watch y'all grow, watch you figure it out, watch you figure out the systems. Yeah. I'm like, man, that's motivate. That's the real success to me.
Dude, it's in the journey.
Yes,
it's in the journey, man.
Yeah.
And we here, man.
We here, bro. Real guys, man. Real guys. Name of this podcast episode is Real Guys. We earned it.
So the union, you birthed this new baby because this is about as close as we gonna get.
Yes.
The birth of the child. So is come out into you is your passion project as of right now.
Yeah.
Where do you see this thing going, G?
Wow. Every day I feel like it's different because I truly created the union with the fitness professional in mind. I thought about having a space where fitness professionals can come in, they can build their business, they can grow, they can find their avatar. I thought about y'all. And truly, like I'm not hyping it up. This is no hype. I thought about where would y'all go to start your company? You know, like 3 amazing people, genius minds, have this new concept. Like, where would they go, right, to start to find the avatar? Where do they go to raise capital? Where do they go to prove a concept? Where do they go to get real buy-in? What space would allow them to totally be theirs? That's not what other gyms do. It's not their business model.
They don't even see
there's no
profitability in that.
There's no value in that for them. There's never been a space created with you in mind. There's never been a space created with the fitness professional in mind. The space has only been created with the end customer. And I thought that, where did the Mirror start? Where did Peloton start? Where did Lululemon start? Where did Vibe Ride start? These are 2 lawyers. Where would they go to get their start? They're not going to start at a whatever. They're going to start at the union. Yeah. And so I felt like a place like Atlanta had enough of us to sustain it. I really felt that way. So I feel that there's at least 9 cities that have enough of us to sustain it. I feel that if we can build, like, we need places that cultivate talent. We need places that birth talent. We need places that give talent real opportunities, not sell them courses. Not, you know what I mean? Bruh. Not just be a space where you rent out and trade time for money. Truly build a space that can be here for you, that you feel that you can come in and be like, hey, this is our space. Look at our product. And so I think about different companies that's used it already, like your company, like Any Distance, you know, and it's like amazing. I didn't think Lululemon and Reebok could come in, but I'm like, okay, come on, let's go. Yeah. But you know, like, it is amazing. Like, we've had people fly in from New York. We've had people fly in from LA. And like, man, you need to bring one here. And I'm like, wow, why would, like, you know, I didn't think about it like that, but it's such a great space. And what I always hear is the vibe. I hope that we can continue to repeat that and do that over and over again. So, man, I think we can scale it. I think we can grow it. But more importantly, I think we can have real verticals. Yeah. And hopefully in a year, we can say, hey, look at what Make did. Look at them.
It's gonna be less than a year, bro.
You know what I mean? Hey, let's go. 6 months. Dude. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we hope. And it can go on our fitness hall of fame.
You know what I mean? Dude, like you said, it's needed, man.
Yeah.
It's needed. It's just even thinking, like you said, thinking back to the original days of Metric Made, we going into LA Fitness and begging for space. Like, hey, we want to be able to bring this new technology to your members that they ain't never seen before.
Yep.
Please let us do this. All right, we'll give you a table and you know what I'm saying, machine.
Yeah.
If we run into somebody that gets it,
yes,
then it's like they're gung-ho about it, but then they got to convince somebody else.
Yep.
It's like,
yep.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
And then you get out, like you bust out like a Peloton, and it's like, oh man, we would love to have you around. It's like,
yeah.
Talking to you before that.
Yeah, we was trying to tell
insight.
you that your experience will be better for your members before. But like, man, you know, the problem is, thank God y'all have stamina. But most companies don't have that much stamina. It's a reason why most fitness companies don't even make it past that time. Because there's no place to pump in. You need gas, bro. Y'all need gas. And that gas don't always come in the forms of money. It comes in the form of talent, resources. Like, this is why they have the tech industry, or they have the Hollywood, or they have the sports industry, things like that. Those cities pump gas into Hollywood.
Yep.
Cities pump gas into tech. These cities pump gas into these movies, music. We need to pump gas into the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And I really believe that's what the union can do.
And speaking of pumping gas, we're going to shout out to Georgia Sports Innovation Council, which I'm going to get you into now.
Yes.
Like, we got to get you in, bro.
Please.
Like, doing great things, trying to be able to make Georgia a bastion for exactly what you're talking about, just in general. Because did you know we have the largest concentration of retired athletes in the country?
You know,
in the world, I think.
I didn't know that, but working with the NFLPA, oh my gosh, I'm realizing like, oh wow,
bro. So
many players. And I want to say they're only second to LA, and that's just the NFLPA. Exactly. We're not even talking about the NBA and so many others.
And you know, MLB they busting down here. They want to be down here. Trying to camp down in Florida. So they
they just opened right
talk
there.
About Florida. Yeah. Man. And then we just got the soccer team joint. Is as far as the fitness, the sports, the health, the wellness landscape, is booming. Like booming and bunking in a whole different measure. And so that again speaks to the timing, bro. Like, you are right on time.
Yeah.
Right, man. If reinventing the industry once again, do it once in your life is one thing, but to do it twice, come on, G.
But it take us. It take us, man. And thank you for real. Like, y'all coming in and like being here and being not only just being here, but you're present, you're active. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're around.
Yeah.
Like, I'm amazed. Like, last night, I'm amazed at, like, we had like real entrepreneurs, fitness entrepreneurs in a room talking to each other. I just think that we're doing something special. This is a special city, and it's ready for multiple companies, have multiple exits, have multiple, mergers, have multiple acquisitions. It's a special place. So I do think it's a great time.
Man, that's it. That's it. Sir. And speaking of great times, man, we got to talk about this last thing. Them tough talks we got. We got a similar situation coming up, man. So that was. I'm gonna give the creative genesis of that to you, because you came to me with the concept.
Yeah.
One day we walked in, we were getting ready to record the drop. You was like, "This is what the name gonna be." I'm like, "Hey, that actually worked." So what do you see as far as that side, outside of the business leader, the employer, the grower, being able to share this type of information like we did right here? Like, what do you see that becoming as far as Tough Talks?
Yeah, I just think it's another thing, right? Like, every other industry, like, you probably have done the same thing as me. I've been in multiple conferences, right? I've been to every conference you can think of. If I named them, you know them. Mm-hmm. But none of those conferences felt like they were for us. Mm. I've listened to many podcasts, read many books, but none of them just speaks to our journey and our experience. And I felt that, you obviously have TED Talks, and you have all these other platforms, Earn Your Leisure. I love these platforms, but I wanted something for us, for fitness entrepreneurs, for wellness entrepreneurs, for people that's in tech, for people that's creating things, for people that's online, for trainers, for yoga, for everybody that's in our industry. And I want to be able to talk to them and say, hey, all right, this is what you're doing. Maybe try this. Really give them feedback. So that's why I thought that it would be great to do Tough Talks. And I know that I don't know everything. right? I know that, hey, I have my experience, which is this experience, but I don't have tech. I'm not an engineer. And this industry deserves to hear from people like yourself. They deserve to hear from that model. And I think that, so when you start talking, I was like, oh man, bro, this would be perfect. Like, we have both of these backgrounds and we can combine them and create Tough Talks. And I think that the industry is going to go crazy, bro. Sure. I think they're going to go crazy. I think it's going to be conferences. I think it's going to be, in live, like in-person meetings, just so many things that is going to help the industry. And the industry needs it. This is a young industry, man. It's amazing that like all these resources should have been here, but they're really not.
I won't say that it's young. I'll say that it went into hiding and it's coming back. If you remember, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all them cats, they were running the show. Muscle Beach, all of that stuff was bussing.
Good call. Yep.
And then everybody started getting it.
Yeah.
And now we're coming back to understanding that movement, that taking care of yourself, the mental and the physical side. The physical side impacts the mental side. Mental side impacts the physical side. It allows you to be able to live that soft life that everybody's searching for. Is not monetary. It's actually how you feel. And what you can do and how you can progress because you feel better about where you are and what you're doing and who you are. Now that's becoming prominent again. And so that halo is being put back onto the folks that are focused on that, building that, helping other people be a part of that and embodying that themselves, because it's the one thing you can't buy. Like, you can buy it, but you still can't buy it, because if you buy it, you still got to get your butt in the gym. Otherwise, you're going to be back buying it again. So
it's no escaping it. And like, I look at it from, everybody has a fitness journey. One thing I've having a physical location, you see so many people. So I've seen the executive come in here. I've seen the politician come in here. I've seen the athlete come in here. I've seen the rapper come in here. I've seen the stay-at-home mom come in here. I've seen the teacher come in here. I've seen every single type of person come in here. And at the end of the day, everybody still has to put in the same work, bro. It is, I don't care who you are. You're going to have to put in work. There's no escaping it. And I look at Tough Talks as also for entrepreneurs. I've seen every single type of entrepreneur come through here. And at the end of the day, you still got to put in the work. And you still, and so I hope that when we build this Tough Talks, we can just give people little nuggets that'll make that journey just a slight, not easier, because it's going to be hard. Period. But maybe we can help you go through whatever emotion that you're going through, whether that's on the treadmill or whether that's in your business, and you late at night, and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. And you got a story to be like, look, I remember, and this is what happened, So that's, just keep going. So I hope that we can do that with Tough Talks. I know we can do that with Tough Talks.
It's going down. It's going down. So y'all watch out. Tough Talks, exclusive invites for the live in person. If you get one, you better covet it and you better show up, because you're going to miss something, obviously. Obviously, because we just talking about him.
We ain't even got into it.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't even tag team nobody. Trying to get the juice out of that. So make sure that you show up. Make sure that you do your thing, bro. Last thing, man, tell the people where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, man. So, man, I'm really boring to find me, but you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, all that good stuff. Do the Math Guy. But more importantly, the Union Fit Hub on Instagram, on all of the platforms, the Union Fit Hub. We're going to be doing something special with Fanbase as well. So I'm looking forward to doing something with Isaac and Fanbase. So
Isaac.
Be looking out for that. We got to get you over here. Man. But yeah, so you can find us on all those social media platforms. And bro, once again, thank you so much, man. This is amazing. Tap in. Everybody, they got to tap in. They gotta tap in.
I ain't pushing nobody, It's just like fitness. Like, if you get in here and you like trying too hard, you might hurt yourself.
You feel?
Your time. You ain't gonna stay on your path. When you join me, I want you to be ready for what you gonna get. You know what I'm talking about?
Come on now,
my man.
Let's go, my guy. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
Thank
you, big
man.
guy.
Thanks for the
Good
love.
times, good ways, good melodies. Cool. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate everybody for joining us as always. Catch us next time. We out here. Tap in with M-T and Friends. Peace.
My God.